Welcome to the Joy of the Hang. Welcome to another episode of Joy of the Hang. We're Sharon and
Lauren.
Yes, and we have a guest with us this week. Welcome, Courtney.
Thank you so much. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, we're very excited that you're here with us. So we have a lot to talk about. First of all, Courtney and I met how many years ago? Not that long ago, a couple of years.
Like maybe
two or three years
ago.
Yeah. And we both now live in Sarasota.
Yes.
But Courtney is a very interesting person, so we're very excited to have her on here. There's a lot of stories you're going to share with us, right?
Yeah. Lots of stories.
Lots of stories.
Excellent. So we met, actually, one of our neighbors introduced us to each other at the Bird Key Yacht Club when we went to a new members orientation meeting.
Yes.
So that was the first time we met. But the second time we ran into each other was at a great little restaurant downtown called Cafe Amici.
Yes.
You want to tell that story?
And that story might be a little more exciting than what people would imagine from being first told, oh, we met at an association meeting for Bird Key.
Yeah.
I might tune out right away.
Exactly. But no, there's more.
Yeah, okay.
It gets better.
Let's just say Cafe Amici has these very famous brunches that he does on Sundays. And I think it was like the first or second one that Charlie and I have ever been to. And it was like our little like date day brunch that we went to. The food is always excellent. The people are always so much fun. And so we actually, I think we were just dancing and then it just got really, really crazy.
Yes.
A lot of champagne was flowing. And I don't remember, was I dancing on the bar at that time? Or I don't know. Cause
You were definitely dancing on something that was elevated, yes.
Yeah, they asked me to go on the chair and I was like, okay, all right, this is going to be interesting. So, a couple champagne flies and then, everything else is out the window. But anyway, that's when we met, Sharon and Scott, and it was really fun. And we've been friends ever since. And
we had a great time.
You had us at your Christmas Eve, your Christmas party, but it wasn't Christmas Eve
because you
came to our Christmas Eve party.
Yeah.
And we've been friends ever since. And then
And let's not miss an opportunity to mention that with the Amici restaurant, the two Italian brothers that own it are kind of eye candy, which
and so are the female bartenders.
That's
so
correct.
I think that's a criteria for working.
I would agree with you, Sharon.
Yeah. Hot crew all around.
Hot crew all
That's
around,
right. And Courtney, when would you say we met? I mean, my recollection is definitely that what's sort of probably attributed to our meeting, besides being introduced, would both be our love of fashion and looking unique, carrying something unique, just being all around fabulous.
Yeah. I think you met here, though, right? At the holiday party, weren't you?
Yeah,
were you
I think it was.
I think it was.
Because I had my phone purse, if that's what you were
right.
referring
You did.
to.
That's how I ultimately, at the end of the day, recognized you. I think the second time I saw you, because you were carrying the same bag, and I thought, there's no way somebody else who, like another tall, pretty blonde carrying the same bag just is...
You have the same bag?
No, but I saw Courtney twice. Yeah. But Sharon, thanks. I say tall, pretty blonde.
I
and
know.
Sharon thinks I'm talking about myself.
Of course.
Well, you are a tall, pretty blonde. What do you mean?
I don't know. It's 5'5.5" tall.
Oh.
I guess I'm not sure.
Well, you wear it tall. You don't.
Thank you. I think it's.
That's a good
I
way
think
to
it might
you
be
wear
the
it tall.
heels that are always. You got to have.
I love the shoes
right?
too.
Yes.
Actually, the bag that I had was a new bag that was like the one that you saw the first time.
Okay.
Because the first one is black with like silver diamonds, and then this one had all diamonds. And my brother and my sister-in-law and my brother got me that for Christmas.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
So we have to
Betsy Johnson.
I was going to say, we have to describe the bag for people who can't see us. So the people that are listening, it's a bag that's in the shape of a phone, right? An old-fashioned
rotary phone.
And
then it literally has rhinestones all over it.
Yeah.
And then basically the numbers. It's like 1, and then it says hot, or 2, it says pop, 3 is rock, and then it just
that's
goes
cool.
the whole way across, and then it has the famous hot pink inside for Betsy Johnson.
I love Betsy Johnson, and I have to take a moment to say the fact that I love that you carry a Betsy Johnson bag when certainly you could afford to carry whatever, bag you wanted, and fashion is fashion. I love costume jewelry, and
Me too.
both my daughter and I wear. People always ask us where we got it. We do have pendants, various pendants that are either custom or maybe like a little, vintage Chanel coin I get, and we clip them onto our Betsy Johnson necklaces, which I can either wear long or double. And now I buy them for like $12 off Poshmark.
That's amazing.
Clip something on them, and everyone thinks it's like a family heirloom or like a $5,000 necklace.
Yeah,
that's great.
But the coolest thing about that handbag is it actually works. It has Bluetooth capability.
Yes, it's linked to my Bluetooth.
It's like crazy.
So literally, it's a physical telephone on top of the purse that snaps on top, and then have the rotary part at the bottom. So it's a little fun little conversation piece.
Which
hence Lauren and I
definitely makes sense that it works and has the Bluetooth capability because only someone who would have the connection you do to Bitcoin would also have the hindsight to buy a purse that can actually work as a phone.
Wait, Courtney, what connection do you have to Bitcoin?
Oh,
Maybe a little connection?
Just a little. Basically, my husband, for people that don't know, his name is Charlie Shrem. He had the very first Bitcoin transaction company that you could buy and sell Bitcoin in the world in 2013.
Yeah. So tell us how you met Mr. Charlie Shrem.
I was living in New York City pursuing entertainment, and I was going through some personal things. My dad committed suicide in 2010. So just going through a lot of like emotional things, and you do some stupid things when you're grieving. And
I moved in with a guy right as my mom got sick and died 6 months later. So yes, you do very stupid things sometimes when...
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry about your dad.
Thank you. But long story short, I was pounding the pavement and I needed a job. I lost my job where I was at before during the whole grieving process. And I literally met Charlie, my husband, today. And he was actually a silent investor in the nightclub at EBR on 39th Street between 5th and 6th in New York City. And I actually ended up doing the very first Bitcoin transaction to be accepted in a nightclub in New York City. And Charlie was my person that I've been with ever since.
Oh, I love that.
So Bitcoin brought us together.
Aww.
I went to my very first Bitcoin conference in San Jose, California in 2013. I was like one of 4 women there. It was crazy. It was probably just the reporters at that point. But I really knew it as a social experiment, not really as money at that point. So it basically, for me, I know Charlie got into it because he was very socially awkward. He comes from an Orthodox Syrian Jewish community, isn't in the community anymore. And it was just a way to kind of like feel accepted and have like a friendship. He never met anyone. Like, it was always online that he met these people. His business partner, actually, he never met.
Oh, wow.
That he had this company called BitInstant. And literally, I remember when we were dating and he would be on the phone with him, and he's autistic. So his partner's autistic, and he was like, waking him up and like, hey, this is going on, we need to do this, blah, blah, blah. So it was so interesting. I felt like I knew him, and they never even physically met to this day. So it's kind of crazy how just things like that work out.
So is Charlie's background is his IT? Is he an IT developer?
Finance and economics.
Interesting. Yeah. Because Bitcoin, you even said it's still kind of the wild west, but it's just exploding now.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, people are starting
Well, it's exploding, but at the same time, it seems like nobody knows anything about it because as you and I talked about it prior to having Courtney here, I feel like I know nothing about it. I'd like to know more about it. Obviously, there are a lot of us that, wrongly so have in our head, if I get involved, I'm going to be an instant, millionaire.
Yeah.
Well, basically, Bitcoin, for when I knew what it was, I just thought it was an alternative payment system, and it ended up being a lot more than that. I know for the beginning of it that you could it was instantaneous cash that you could send money around the world to people that don't have a banking system, but they have a PGP key or like a QR code and their phone, and they have an app that they can actually transfer the funds without like fees or the high fees, I should say, and you can actually get that to a third world country and, you know, help that person out. Or there's a lot of like nonprofit organizations with Bitcoin. So there's so much that Bitcoin, I mean, funny story, I remember 2013 in San Jose, California, Charlie had a booth right beside PayPal. PayPal laughed him out of the office in 2012. Guess who's taking Bitcoin now?
Oh, wow. That's
PayPal.
That's a great story.
So it's
Wow.
just one of those things. It's like, what do they say first? They laugh at you, then they join you? Or
Well, my husband works in the sports industry where he's worked for the past, 35, 40 years. And they recently had a client pay them in Bitcoin. I mean, it was the first time it ever happened, and that was year 2024, but the client actually paid them in Bitcoin.
Yeah, the sports industry is really big in Bitcoin right now, too. It's because they're teaching the athletes, because they're so young and they don't know how to work their money, use their money and spend it wisely, that they're teaching them with Bitcoin. And
But am I mistaken? Wasn't there some scandal with like Tom Brady and other
FTX.
athletes? FTX, yeah.
Yes.
So what was the deal with that?
So basically, it was just somebody was just a bad actor in it. But it doesn't mean Bitcoin's a bad actor.
Okay.
It's just the people that
Fair
are basically
point.
behind it. And that's what I think that this big misconception today is because of all those scams. I mean, trying anything new, you're going to have some kind of scam, and you just have to work through that. And, but there was some people that were trying to rip people off, and unfortunately, you have those people, and then you have the people that are trying
in
to
any
make it
industry, yeah.
In any industry, you have good
any
doctors, bad doctors, good lawyers,
Exactly.
bad lawyers. So what would you say to someone, who was maybe looking to dip their toe in the Bitcoin? What would you say would be a great way to start? Is it, go to the library and get a 101 on Bitcoin, or signing up for some service? What would you say,
There's an
Courtney?
app called Robinhood, and basically you can download this app on your phone and then just set up an account, but do not leave your money on the actual exchange, because they can use your money with the fees and so forth. So the best thing is called cold storage, and cold storage is when you literally have your code on your person. You do not have it or like in a vault or something where no one else knows it except for yourself. What they call hot storage is when you keep it on an exchange.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Interesting.
and don't speculate with your rent.
Right. Well, you should never. I mean, that's what they say in any type
Yeah,
of...
but a lot of people
Yeah.
sometimes don't know that.
Right, they gamble with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one quick question going back to when you did the first transaction. So were you an investor and then the bar decided to take Bitcoin for a payment? Is that how that worked?
No, I was a cocktail waitress. And
Okay.
I was acting on the side, and I literally got hired on the spot with my resume and my backpack, and that's when I met him, Charlie.
Yeah.
And then his best friend, which is my boss at the time, Alex L., he actually is one of the owners of the nightclub, and he was like, hey, I have someone coming in, a very important client. His name is Charlie Shrem. I need you to take really good care of him. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Again, I thought it was just...
I always kind of wonder, what that means. Like when someone says,
When you're a cocktail
take care of him,
Yeah.
like to what,
exactly.
to what extent?
What exactly do you want?
Time out.
Yeah.
Slow your roll.
Make sure he gets his drink on time, make sure he's always fed. I know that can go another direction,
Well,
too.
it seems like you actually did do more to make sure that he was well taken care of.
Yes.
No, but long story short, so I thought it was just an alternative payment system, and you have this PR key, or PGP key and an iPad, and somebody was coming in, and literally when I did the first transaction, I just thought, okay, and then it ended up being a lot bigger than it is today. So
That's awesome. It's a great story.
Yeah.
It's a great story. So tell me more about your acting career.
I have 7 films in post-production right now. I was just in the Dunedin Film Festival for Valentinostown. You can check that out on Prime. And that is starring Jonathan Stoddard and Lindsay Dresbach. And it's just a sweet romantic comedy, I guess. Maybe romance. I mean, it's funny, but it's also like dramatic. So I would say more like a romance, not a romantic.
Isn't every romantic comedy dramatic, though? Let's be honest.
True.
And
There's
funny.
always
Yeah.
drama and humor with romance. Let's
Right.
be
Yes.
honest.
For sure.
And my recent one on Amazon Prime is called Dark Night of the Soul, and that is starring Kristanna Loken from Terminator 3 and Martin Kove from Cobra Kai. So he plays my dad, and Kristanna plays my sister. And what that movie is about is basically someone that gets, Kristanna Loken is a scientist that gets into a car accident. And basically, so Dark Night of the Soul is basically based on a poem. And what that is, it's like when death is facing you. Like, what do you do when you are in the face of death? And it's parallel realities with her family members, with her dad, which is Martin Kove, and Kristanna Loken, which is the sister, and then she's my older sister.
So I watched it the other night, and you did a great job. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. At first, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what's happening?" But I liked all the.
Burn. It's a slow burn, but it really gets you thinking. So
It does get you thinking.
That's what I like any movie that makes you think about what you would do if you were in that situation, how you would handle yourself, what you would have done the same as any character in the movie or done differently, like that make you think about those things.
Right.
That I find that very intriguing, and to me it makes the movie much, much better when it has that aspect to it.
right.
Yeah. And then you have Asked Me to Dance, or that was
Ask Me to Dance is on Prime as well. That's a romantic comedy. Basically, that is starring Brianna Evigan from Step Up, the dance sequels. And then we have Joyce DeWitt from Three's Company. We have Catherine Mary Stewart. It's just really, really fun names in there. Jessie Cove, which is
Oh my
Martin
God,
Cove's
Three's
son.
Company. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, anyone watching this?
Janet.
Yeah, Janet.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Janet, she calls me Cordy Bear. So I am.
love that.
Yeah,
Cordy Bear.
Yeah, she's like, where's my Cordy Bear? So that's my little fun story with Joyce DeWitt. But no, that was really fun. And Jesse Cove, which is Martin Cove's son in real life, he plays my fiance in the movie. So that was cool to like work with him and then work with Martin later.
so fun.
Yeah.
So fun. So did you act in high school? I
did.
Yeah.
I was a dancer first, and I did theater. And then I lived in New York City for 17 years. And then I met Charlie, and then we moved to Sarasota 8 years ago. So
Yeah.
Can you sing too? I feel like there's so many triple
People
threats in
say
your
I
industry.
can.
I bet you can.
I'm not
It's
a belter, but I definitely did.
Right?
voice
Am I
over.
wrong? Do you not feel like
Yeah.
that so many of these actors and actresses we
feel like you have
see
to.
that they seem to be able to sing, dance,
Do it all.
Because if you have a role that needs to sing, you better hope that they enjoy what they listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the future in acting for you?
Well, I'm getting ready to shoot a film in St. Pete and Tampa. It's a short film. And then after that, I'm supposed to go to LA with the fires. I don't know how things are going to go. But as of right now, mid-April, I'm supposed to go out and do a thriller, kind of like a black magic thriller, I would call it.
Do you have a favorite genre that you like to act in?
I did one that is on Prime as well called Trauma Therapy Psychosis in Scotland, and that was a horror film. I will say I like characters that really push me and get me uncomfortable, because when you're uncomfortable, it's so much more realistic. And so I would say horror, or I don't know, comedy is really fun too.
Well, so on the note of being pushed to being uncomfortable, have you ever done nudity, or would you do nudity?
I would probably do semi-nudity. I wouldn't do like full out,
Full frontal.
whatever. Yeah.
You're not going to be in a porn.
No,
But you can have full
very
nudity.
edgy, very classy.
edgy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
think
if
it-
it was done tastefully.
Yes.
You mean like
I'd
Nicole
have to-
Kidman and
and let's
Baby
talk about
Girl?
the money.
Yeah,
We'll
right,
talk.
exactly. You mean that kind of like nudity?
Well, I just think it matters. I haven't seen that movie yet. I would like to see it.
Yeah.
I just think that sometimes maybe it is relevant, to see someone's body or see them naked. Certainly we've all watched films before where we're like, really, was there any purpose whatsoever of seeing that person naked? But
Right.
I always think, would I do it? And I think, obviously, at the end of the day, everyone probably worries, well, how would I look? And I'm sure, a lot of these actors and actresses, either they might have a body double for parts, or they just have stipulation that the lighting is such so that, okay, my butt looks more voluptuous and not flat. And if I have a dimple, somehow make it so it doesn't look like you have a dimple.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I have a fun story about Charlie of how we actually got together. So
was that code for had sex for the first time?
No.
Okay, literally got together. Okay.
No, meaning
just checking.
When we first started dating.
Okay.
So
because Lauren really wants to know when you had sex for the first time. She's like, let's just go there.
Right?
Let's just say it wasn't right away. Okay. I made him wait.
Our cameraman's over there. I want to know too. He's saying,
which you say you made him wait. I mean, my husband and I, who have been now married for almost 26 years, still have a pretty, not an argument, but a debate about when we met in 1995, playing in a lacrosse tournament in Vail that's still up and running. We hooked up, you would say, and we'll leave it at that. We did not have sex. And I always say to him, you absolutely 100% would have had sex with me if I put it on the table. And he says, absolutely not. I would not have. And so 30 years later, we're still arguing or debating that point. Okay, so do tell.
All right.
How did you get together?
But they're still together. Yes.
So basically, at EVR, the nightclub that I was working at, he would come in, and then, for 3 months, he would come in and request a section that I'm in. And I was like, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, this guy's adorable. I love his energy. Aww. He's just very, very sweet. And there was just something different about him. He was just full of life, that just something different that I don't really see. And I see a lot of people in New York. And I was like, I don't know. There's just something about him. So anyway, one night he came in, and Alex, my boss at the time, his best friend, we're all going out for drinks. Why don't you come out and meet us? I think Charlie's coming. I'm like, okay, cool. He secretly had a crush on me. I secretly had a crush on him. They're like, why don't you go to this place down the street by Culture Club? It was just some bar on 39th Street by Bryant Park. And I went, and then Charlie was there. Nobody else was there. We were set up.
That is
and
brilliant.
It's literally how we have come together. And it's been history ever since.
Well, and brilliant in that it worked out, because I'm sure in the past there are other stories like that where friends have attempted to do something like that, and the two people show up, and either both of them or one of them is like, ooh, get me out of here. So it's great that they read the room well.
I think, they definitely read the room well. Yes,
okay, so you both show up, and what?
And not only that, but I didn't make the move, and he didn't make the move, so it was I guess they both figured we'd never make the move, because we were just, I don't know why, but I don't know why it took so long. But yeah, and then it just kind of just organically happened. And then he threw up all over me, which was awesome. So I helped him.
Oh, no.
I helped the security guy, I'm so sorry.
Why did he throw up all over
He was
you?
nervous.
He was just nervous.
Yeah, he drank a little.
Maybe that, can be a good thing, because we know another couple. I always struggle because you don't want to necessarily, mention names, because there's some name drop in there, so I won't name drop. But the first time they went on a date, and she's a beautiful, 5'10", blonde, voluptuous, and he has famous, athlete brothers, what have you, and he's famous in his own right, and she, towards the end of their date, threw up all over the yard of his parents' home.
Wow.
And I remember when they told the story, and it didn't deter him at all. He thought she was great. I mean, she simply you can be nervous. I've been nervous. I've had one drink too many. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think I said earlier when Sharon and I were talking about how we met, I did the Irish goodbye because we were at a party here at their house meeting everyone. I knew I had had more to drink than I should have, and I was said to my husband, okay, we're out. I don't want to start slurring. I don't want to embarrass myself. Like, let's go. So I'm glad that it happens.
We're all human.
We're all human. It happens. And
Yeah.
you shouldn't be judged entirely for one moment in your life. And we could probably have many future conversations about this, how, like, get over it. We all make mistakes. Like, don't judge somebody for one, or even 2 or 3 mishaps in life.
I mean, it's not like he could control himself. I mean, it's not like, hey, I'm going to throw up all over.
No, but I mean, that's how he knows you're a keeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't run. You
Yeah,
were like, okay,
exactly.
we got this. No big
Right.
deal, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that you could interview a lot of your friends who are couples and talk about the moment they knew that, their spouse was a keeper. We have a friend who has now been married about as long as we have. So they've been married, 25-ish years. And he went to her home in a snowstorm, and he'd had a lot to drink. And he needed to go to the bathroom, and so he went to he used her bathroom in her apartment. And I believe he couldn't find any toilet paper after he went to the bathroom. And somehow, I guess, in his state of being intoxicated, thought that maybe it was a good idea to use the nice hanging hand towel that she had. But not only did he use the beautiful hand towel that she had to wipe himself, he hung it back up.
Oh my God.
Perfectly well,
Yeah.
sort of not thinking what he was doing, hanging it back up. So awoke the next morning to his name being yelled,
What do you-
Andy, get in here. And he said that that's when he knew that she was a keeper, because although she was mad and like, what
are you thinking?
what the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah.
She didn't break up with him.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great.
I know.
Isn't that great?
Well, I don't know how great it is, but it's a good story for
We
sure.
definitely had our trials and tribulations with our relationship, though. Like I said, he comes from a Syrian Jewish, Orthodox Jewish background, so I wasn't accepted because I'm not Jewish. So that was a struggle with his family and I. Also, when he had the Bid Instant company, I don't know if you know this story, Lauren, but he actually went to federal prison for 18 months because there was one customer that was buying and selling Bitcoin on Silk Road through his company. And because it was failure, a suspicious activity report, he was held an example. So I was there for him through the entire thing. So I left New York, moved back to Pennsylvania, where I'm from. My grandmother was sick at the time. She had to move in with my mom. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just move in with my mom, help her out, help Charlie out. And I left New York for like 2 years and just left everything because I just believed in him. And
How long had you been together when he was?
We were only together. We met in 2013, and then he got arrested in 2014. So he was out in 2016.
And he was 24 years old.
I did actually know that, Courtney, and I think it's telling of certain people's personalities, because you were at the party here where I met you at Sharon's house, and Sharon and Scott certainly didn't mention anything to me about that. Certain people did. I think it's telling about certain people's personalities that you would feel the need to mention that. Because it really has nothing to do with, it'd be like me introducing you to a friend and saying, oh, by the way, just to let you know, 5 years ago, he got a DUI.
Well, no, I just meant the testament of our relationship.
Oh, no, I agree with that, but I meant you, since you asked me, I know that
I just assume everybody knows what this is.
And who maybe people do, and I think nobody cares, and I think, you have something that everybody, aspires to have, and you have a great relationship. You supported Charlie, and I think it's a great example for anyone who's younger out there, and certainly we have a lot of young people that like to listen to Sharon and me, and they love fashion like we do, but just learning the reality of a relationship. And it's not this like fairy tale thing of tipping off into the tulips. It's being fucking real and living your truth and letting your partner or spouse live their truth and being there for them the same way you would want them to be there for you. Because we all, I've said to my kids who are all in their 20s, you don't have kids, or if you don't have kids, you don't suddenly get older or get married and stop making mistakes or stop fucking up. You will make mistakes and fuck up till the day you die.
Yeah. What
you hope is that you learn from it,
mistakes,
don't continue to make the same mistakes. But to me, it's just part of like a little piece of the puzzle or a beautiful part of the story that makes it, unique and interesting and wonderful at the same time.
And that's the great part about Charlie's story too. I mean, he went through all that, and now he's come back stronger and smarter than ever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he learned a lot from that experience.
And I hate to say it, but it was a blessing in disguise too, because I mean, for our relationship, for the way he was brought up, I mean, there was just he really grew up in there in a positive way, which unfortunately had to be that direction. But I mean, it was a wake up call, and it made us stronger. So
it had to be scary for both of you.
Oh,
when you were
absolutely,
going through it.
absolutely.
I think I never understood when people would talk about sort of the blessing in disguise. I've always believed there's a silver lining to any cloud, but Sharon knows I had uterine cancer, like early stages. So luckily all I needed for treatment was a hysterectomy. But it's sort of, and I don't think, nobody wants cancer.
Right.
You would be, it's a horrible thing to have happen, but, it certainly changes the way you might do things. And when I thought a month ago that I had it again, which I did not, it made me make some very quick, drastic changes in terms of reaching out to people, some family members that I haven't talked to for a period of time in my life. It made my husband and me, we've been talking about renewing our vows for like 5 years now. We did that. We've just made it a point to sort of live our lives and place priority on things we kept pushing to the background. So I'm glad you said that, because I think when people haven't gone through something intense like that, or a sickness or something traumatic, they hear someone say that and they're like, okay, yeah, right. Like that was a blessing in disguise.
Right.
Where I agree.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So did Charlie ever reconcile with his family, or where is that at today?
We tried, I guess when we first moved here, we even had them to invite to our wedding, and they didn't even acknowledge our wedding. So yes, we will come, or no, we will not come, just nothing. And so unfortunately, we haven't been in touch ever since.
Sorry to hear that. Families are complicated,
Yes,
and we
they
can't
are.
pick our families, can we?
No.
Friends are the family that you choose.
Yep.
I love that statement.
Yeah.
It's so true.
It's so true.
And, one saying I do not like is that whole blood is thicker than water, because then that takes away, what about people who, adopt kids, or you think you, for all of our friends that don't have kids, you marry someone, you have a partner, that person is not, related to in any way. It's someone that you choose to spend the rest of your life with because of how they make you feel.
It's so true.
Yeah,
It's so true.
That is true. And Lauren, we have something to celebrate with you. She had 26 years of marriage. She just got back from Vegas.
I did.
She literally just got back, late last night?
We renewed our vows on Saturday, the 18th of January. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Ladies, sip up my glass, and they can see it on the video. It's a little bit lower than both of yours. It was fabulous. We had some friends who came out to celebrate with us. They heard we were doing it, insisted on coming with us, so that was fantastic. I did have a very important question for my husband. I said, okay, honey, well, we just renewed our vows on Saturday, January 18th, but our actual anniversary is March 20th, so I think that might mean 2 different anniversaries, like 2 presents. And I would say it took him an eighth of a second, if that, to just look at me and say, no.
Okay, wait. Before we end, what were you wearing? And tell me who married you and all of the details.
We had Elvis marry us at the Elvis Chapel in Las Vegas. And I was wearing a fantastic outfit that basically was like a strapless white bathing suit with a sheer tulle layer over it with feathers on it. I needed some type of headwear to make me feel festive, fabulous, like a bride. So I went to Giggles, and if you live in the Sarasota area and haven't been, get yourself there. They probably have stores like it in other places. Giggles is just a fantastic store where either a wife, husband, if you have a bachelorette party, if you're a stripper or dancer, you can go there and buy apparel, great
It's like an adult toy store with costumes.
Yep.
But also clothes.
And
I mean,
great clothes,
yes, some
hats,
good
and
bustiers,
wigs.
some fun shoes that you could also wear on a normal occasion.
Right.
I do like, it's what I love about my friends, how they call me out, because I was describing my dress to one of my friends, and I was explaining how it's basically, a bathing suit with a sheer layer. So you're walking around Vegas with, you can see your butt, what have you. I mean, I was more covered up than most of the women are at the actual pools, but I was explaining to my girlfriend, Erin, well, I want to, it's in Vegas, so I can get away with it. It's not like I'm in Sarasota or on the main line. And she looked at me and said, Lauren, shut up. You know that you would wear that dress wherever you were getting married.
I'm sorry.
And I just looked at her and I said, touche, touche. You're right. I would wear it anywhere because
100%.
I got to do me.
Yeah, exactly. And Gabby was wearing a kilt.
He was wearing a kilt, and my husband knows that I love kilts, and I am always amused and appalled at the same time when he wears it and someone actually asks him, are you wearing anything underneath it? Because no self-respecting man who wears a kilt wears anything underneath it. And I would like to put out there into the universe and apologize to the 3 women who were seated at the table near us as we were up on stage for the unexpected fruit salad they were served late into the night. So my apologies out there to you ladies, and hope you're not in therapy.
She's not really sorry. Don't believe a woman.
I'm not sorry, but I'm hoping
sorry,
they're not
sorry.
in therapy.
Well, Courtney, we always end the episode with some advice we'd give our younger self. Do you have any advice you'd give your younger self?
I think the stigmatism of people opening up doors for you when you're hesitant to go through that door because someone's doing it for you. Instead, I think it's really important to create your own opportunities if you have the chance to do it. Because if I was stubborn and listened to my old self, I probably wouldn't be here today. So I want to thank Charlie for actually getting into the producing world a little bit and getting his feet wet to try and help me get further. But, the proof is in the pudding, and people saw what I can do, and I may have that door open for me, but I'm actually making it keep it open. So.
No, I love that. I love that. And your talent speaks for itself. So, yeah, 100%. And we so appreciate having you here today and being part of our little hang squad.
Well, this has been amazing. Thank you so much to both of you. You guys are fabulous.
Yeah, this was very fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Till next time.
Peace out.
Bye.